Hello everyone, I'm Steve, Mark's off for the night, and this is Smokey, Steve, and Mark. Welcome or welcome back. It is Friday, TGIF. These, off-scheduled things with the holidays are weird. Yesterday felt like a Monday, today felt like a Tuesday. I know I'm going to wake up tomorrow and think I have to go to work. I don't know. So today we're doing almost a pajama party. I'm in my PJs, because I love the nightlife. I want to talk a little bit about some of my college days. And in particular, there was an overarching theme at the very end of high school and in through my college days. Um, and the theme was, please like me. And the lengths I would go to try to get people to approve of me or to agree with me, like me, think of me kindly, things like that. So I came out, in case you haven't been paying attention, I'm gay. Mark is not my roommate. We're not, well, he is, but we're not like Bert and Ernie. Um, and so I missed a lot of that normal dating, proms, getting to know people like that, because I grew up in a very small town in northeastern Pennsylvania in the mid to late 90s. There just wasn't opportunities for me to socialize in that way, and I didn't come out until I was 18. So, right at the end of high school going into college, I was looking for myself, and of course I did what most people do who can't find themselves. They dye their hair. That was the way I chose. So I had blue hair, I had blonde hair, I had black with red stripes. It's a wonder I don't have hair now. Um, and was trying to find something that fit. I had a girlfriend, lady friend, who was involved in the rave scene, such that there was one. She lived in Philadelphia. And I went to Hot Topic, the store in the mall where all the goth kids go, and maxed out my credit card and bought a whole new wardrobe and thought, finally, I'll find somewhere where I can fit in. And I did fit in there for a while. And I can dance. I'm still a decent dancer, even with a bit of mild arthritis and some loose skin. Um, and I thought, wow, this is my spot. So I finished up the summer in this. Finally, I had a scene. I had a crowd. I had people I could identify. We had a shared language. We liked the same stuff. We liked the same drugs. Things like things like that. So then college starts, and I'm at a semi-preppy, second tier Jesuit college in Scranton, and I stand out, especially in my raver gear, which I insist on wearing every single day. Um, and it's kind of like an Abercrombie and Fitch ad come to life, you know. And everyone's very wealthy, very well off, and I'm there on scholarship and loans. So I didn't feel really like I fit in too much there. And I wasn't, you know, I didn't feel like I fit in. It kind of felt like high school all over again. So I hung out with the one friend I clicked with, the raver friend, and we would spend weekends in Philadelphia, and I'd go to parties and stuff like that. And then met a guy, and then finally came out after we had hung out for a while, and it was like, oh, okay. So then I started to find my people, or went looking for my people, and could find all of them in Scranton. Things were kind of taboo at a Catholic college. They did have a group for gays and lesbians. It was the GLB group, and it was run from the counseling center. It was more like Homosexuals Anonymous than anything else. It was coping with the difficulties of life being gay, when one of the difficulties was being ostracized at a Catholic university. So it was all very backwards. So I transfer and I moved to Philadelphia, and I go to Temple, where I eventually graduated. TUMF. So I get down there, and I'm all of a sudden gay in the city and doing and I'm downtown, and I'm going to the bars and stuff, and I'm still trying to find my niche and trying to find a group of people. And I find out early that trying to fit in with the other boys wasn't really going to work. First, I mean, when I got there, I was kind of cute. I had braces until I was like a sophomore in college. Um, so I looked kind of twinky, and I had hair at the time and a young face, and I was very thin, actually. I was at my gay weight, you know, like 80% of what an average weight would be per height. And that was all part of trying to fit in for me. Be cute, be thin, be social, don't be weird, don't act too smart, don't use big words, like all this stuff. Even though I was in a college, I was trying not to seem too like too many of the things that my ex didn't like, pretty much. The things he used to criticize me for. I was like, don't do those things or people won't like you. So don't talk too much. Don't try to be too funny. Don't try to be too smart. Don't try to be too center of attention or anything like that. So I tried not to do that. And as such, I met nobody. So freshman year rolls over on its back at the university in Scranton. Sophomore year rolls over on its back and dies. I stay with a friend and sublet, which would be going into like what would be a junior year. And it's like the summer of debauchery. We're having parties, there's pot flying around, there's like all sorts of stuff going on there. And I kind of want to fit in with her group of friends, but they've all changed from ravers to all of a sudden now everybody has cuffed jeans and they all dress like bike messengers. And they listen to this obscure music. And it's like the more obscure, the better. You heard of this band? No. Well, they're great. Have you heard of this band? No. Well, they're even better. If you said you listen to anything on Top 40 radio, they look at you like you smashed the Ten Commandments. There was a certain bit of snobbery in that group at that time. All those people are very cool people, by the way. But at the time, when you're 20 and too smart for your own good, and everyone's a member of the Green Party, so I didn't really fit in there either. So I started looking for other avenues to find approval. Then when I started drinking a little bit more, all of a sudden the need for approval kind of disappears, but also the inhibitions disappear. And one way that an insecure, relatively attractive, young, impressionable, gay, late teenager in a big city could find approval is through casual encounters of the romantic kind. That was my way of trying to find approval. So I would frequent bars. I would go online. It was the very beginning of like internet dating. We're talking like, not the very beginning, but compared to now, it was like 2002, maybe, like mid 2002. You would still have a computer, like a full PC, maybe with cable internet at the time, and try to find people, just anybody. And when I would go to the club, it was weird. I would try to find someone that I thought was the most attractive person there, or more attractive than me. And if I could get their attention, that meant that I was at least as attractive as the best looking person there, I guess. Like being like approved of and being attractive by proxy, like by being with them. It said something about me that I was with them. And if that meant drinking a whole lot or buying them a bunch of drinks or copping for them, whatever it involved, I would do that kind of stuff. If it meant going home with somebody, that happened. And as you might expect, beer goggles are a thing. Vodka goggles are a little more blurry. And I had found myself in a few situations that could have been pretty dangerous. Later in life, it was quite dangerous. Something bad actually did happen, the kind of thing people always warn you about, that actually came to fruition. But I was just wanting to be noticed, to be liked, to be approved of, to be sought after, to be desired, because I was a fat kid and I was a smart kid and I was an effeminate kid. So I wasn't going to play sports and I wasn't going to get a girlfriend and I wasn't going to be popular. None of those things were ever my reality. And I thought maybe as an adult, those things would kind of happen. But all it made me was like a really immature 18, 19, 20-year-old. And then by the time, at the end of college, I got into like 2 back-to-back relationships, one right at the end of college and then one right after. And they were both with people that I was really trying very hard to impress, because I thought, if you like me, then I'm likable. If you love me, then I'm lovable. So no matter what you're asking me to change, I will change. What do you want? Change my clothes? I'll change my clothes. You want a goatee? I'll grow a goatee. I have this one for Mark. It's in jest. He wouldn't leave me if I shaved it. He'd just be a little bitter. You want me to change my major? I'll change my major. You want me to go off my psych meds? I'll go off my psych meds. You want to go hiking at 7 o'clock in the morning, both weekend days, even though I work 9 to 5? Sure, we'll do that. And I'm a student full time? Absolutely. I don't need to sleep in. That's for lazy people. And I tried to keep that up and keep it up. And then eventually I hit that stopping point when you are accommodating a person for a very long time and not really wanting to, and you start to just kind of hate them. And then you hate yourself for being such a sucker, for changing so much for another person to try to please them. They maybe they haven't asked you to do all these things for them. You've just done them, and then you point a finger at them and say, if you're me, if you're like too profoundly immature to have had a relationship at that age. So that relationship, which was the most like that, ended, and then it rolled over into one I had with another person who had a substance use problem, and mine during that relationship exploded. But he liked to drink, and I liked him, and I wanted him to like me. Now, I would have probably turned into an alcoholic anyway, because it's just partly part of my disposition. I've been addicted to things. My first fix was food, and then after food it was attention, and then after attention it was all sorts of other things: tobacco, alcohol, firearms, whatever. Not the firearms. That was just alcohol, tobacco, and you follow. So, bottom line for that relationship was that I crossed that zero barrier into being a full-blown, alcoholic by the end of it. And I thought I was keeping up in the relationship because he was like a party guy. He'd sleep in and he'd, crack open a beer, like not first thing in the morning, but pretty close. Have a beer in the shower when he was getting ready, and I was just drinking right along. But I had different responsibilities than he did. And I reacted to the alcohol differently than he did. And I felt differently the next morning. And I was also on psychiatric medication and was rocking a case of undiagnosed manic depression at the time. So there were other things going on. But that be damned, because I'm nobody if he doesn't care about me. I don't have an identity out. What would happen in almost every relationship I was in. Not this one, because this one's been good. But the other ones, I'm that guy. And ladies or gents, you know someone like this. You have a friend like this, probably. Unless you vet your friends pretty well. I get into a relationship and I stop talking to my friends. I stop all extracurricular activities. I may even miss some work because my whole life is devoted to this single person. And when predictably the relationship fails, I have no one around me. I have no support. I have no friends. I have no family, because I've blown all these people off in the interest of this relationship, which I think is going to fix everything that's wrong with me. It's going to make me feel fulfilled. It's going to make me feel whole. It's going to make me feel loved. All the stuff that I've said. And when the relationship is gone, all those people are gone. And people very rightfully get hurt when you blow them off. And if you do it so many times, they're not going to answer the phone when you call them back again. And many of them didn't. And after that relationship, I just kept on drinking. And no one wants to take that many calls from a drunk friend at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And for reasons I understand now, they cut ties with me. So then, then that was that. At that point, I just didn't fit in at all. I wasn't 18. I wasn't 160 pounds anymore. I didn't have all my hair anymore. So I wasn't going to go play with the boys. There wasn't a big market for 300-pound bulimic chain-smoking alcoholics. I probably wasn't going to get a date unless I catfished or fatfished or whatever you want to call it. I used to fatfish. I just figured once I made it all the way there, they'd be like, oh, fine, come in anyway. A lot of times they did. So, I was single a long time after that last relationship. From 2006 to 2014, I was single. A few ships in the night, but barely even that. Nothing. And it was a lot of, I was sick a lot of the time. I was in and out of the hospital, psych care. I was in and out of rehab. I was, trying to get that end of my life together, and wasn't doing very well at it. Had a kind of a sick way of almost even liking treatment, because treatment, you save a life, you kill a bug, and everyone comes over and hugs you and claps for you. It's kind of, it's patronizing from the outside in. But if you're an approval seeker and you get good feedback and everyone claps for you and hugs you and tells you how brave you are, in a sick way, you sometimes, I sometimes kind of liked treatment. After like a week, when you need to be there for 90 days because you've gotten yourself so sick you'll die if you don't stay. It's a little bit different, but... So I stayed single until Mark. So I was single for 8 years. 8 years after that. And I was sober a couple years before I got into a relationship with Mark. So I guess with some things came with age, some things came with loneliness. I still have feelings like I don't fit in, like I'm a freak. um, Hello everyone, sorry that got cut off so abruptly. My computer's in front of me, I'm here, and I'm looking, and it's gone. The last thing I think you heard is that I feel like a freak. I probably look like one now too. At any rate, I'm very sorry for that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe. Hit the like button. You can follow Mark and I on Facebook at SmokeySteveAndMarc or on Instagram at SmokeySteveAndMarc. Our email address and contact information is all listed below. Thank you all for watching. Tomorrow's Coffee Talk, so I will catch up with y'all then. Chantal has had a busy week and had some things to say that I thought sounded kind of good almost. I'm feeling cautiously optimistic, considering, and we'll check that out. So thank you all for watching once again. Bandit, you want to say goodbye? No, he wants to clean his chest. Thanks for watching. Bye.